Hello, hello, everyone. How are you? It's Thursday, August the 21st, 2025. And let's quickly begin with a quick sound check. If I'm audible, please, someone in the chat, let me know. We are streaming on both the Maxon Training Team YouTube channel and the Maxon YouTube channel. Dean, you're the first to comment. How are you doing? So, just waiting couple of seconds. Sounds good and looks good, of course. Looks good. What are you talking about? Okay, so Master Trainer today, and it's the third week of August, and the summer is leaving us very, very quickly. And yeah, we have some questions from the online form, and hopefully, we're going to have some questions from the audience. And what I'd like you to do is preface your question with a capitalized word question so I can distinguish it from general comments and compliments. We get a lot of those, of course, you understand. And yeah, you can find me on socials at Noseman GR, mostly on Twitter, Twixer, X, whatever they call that thing. And I do respond to my DMs. And what else? Yeah, I hope you watched the show yesterday, the Create with Maxon. I was here with Ellie. That's Ellie's handle for Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to all the Maxon channels, which I'm going to show later on, and hit the notifications and all that stuff you have to do. Great. So I'm going to go to my spreadsheet. First of all, let me add this to the screen. And when I have maybe a more appropriate, and actually what I'm going to do to help with the thumbnail for this series, I'm going to put this on. I'm going to get a little selfie, so to speak. Good, because our very good friend and mentor, Dr. Sassy, uses this for the thumbnail of the series. I'm going to talk about this. It is part of a question I received. Excellent. Now, one thing I would like to ask everyone that's watching it, and by the way, hello, Sharon, is that there's a fine line between a question that is something we can answer on this show and questions that should be aimed at customer support. And for example, there's a question here about rendering test animated textures. Now, I do not know if, first of all, some questions, in order for me to understand what they mean, you may have to be a bit more specific about what you are trying to do. But if something is not working as you would expect it to work, and you have this a suspicion that it may be a bug, looking for workarounds, this show is not the best to ask that question. These are questions for customer support, for tech support, that will tell you what you need to do to work around those things. Okay. So I'm going to begin with something on the spreadsheet, and then I'm going to look at your questions from the posted comments. And I think, yeah, this is part of a question. It's a question from Kenta from Japan. And let me see if I can. So what Kenta is trying to do is trying to create a meadow swaying in the wind. I think there was this visual here. So something akin to this. Let me just turn off the sound. Something like this, right? This is pretty much hand-drawn or something, right? This is not. Oh, Cinema 4D. Yeah, there you go. So something like this, okay? This is cards. This could be hair or something like that. And there were a couple of questions and sub-questions. So the first one is, first of all, we're doing standard rendering over here, although I'm going to talk slightly about Redshift. And let me maximize my screen. And the question is, what is the difference in a hair material between, if you go to the color over here, and you can see that we have this overall texture. This is a texture. And then we have the roots and the tips and all that textures. Okay, so we have these the three textures and then that. But for now, we're going to focus on what's the difference between this one here, this texture, the main one, and the roots. And the difference is quite simple. So over here, I have how this texture works. And over here, I have how the roots texture works. And let me just render it, and you will see the difference, and I'm going to explain it as well. The tiles shader I've used here gets applied in the UV of whatever object you are creating, and each hair, hence roots, it's going to inherit at the root. And if you have nothing else, it's going to go all the way up to the tip, and it's going to inherit the color for whatever you're doing here. And it's as simple as that. If you want to make, let's say, a cow, you would go here and add some sort of noise. You will choose, let me put my, does the interactive render region work? Maybe it will. There we go. So I'm going to go here, add some sort of noise. Let's go and do a Luca as usual and grow it a bit more. And let's increase the contrast so we can see that and maybe grow it even more. There you go. Something like this. It doesn't look like a cow that much, but if you make this significantly larger, I think UV 2D is better. There you go. Now I think my, yeah, there we go. So here's a sort of cow pattern. And here's a noise. You can see that bunch is represented here. These little things are represented here and so forth. So the roots, it goes, applies the texture to the whole, let's say, object, and then each hair is going to inherit the color of the position where it's generated, and all fine and dandy. If you go to the other material where the texture is applied to this, not the roots have nothing, then what happens is that each hair, and you will see in this setup, I've actually made my hairs extremely thick. So this is one hair. Okay, this is one hair. It uses each hair strand as an object, as a plane, and applies this material here. And yeah, this is what the difference between this texture is and the texture in the roots or the tips, for that matter. If you have both roots and tips, it will just blend the tops and the bottoms. So that is the first question. Now, the second part of that question says the user, Kenta, wants to create this sort of pattern, the moving highlights of the hair. And I guess my advice here is just take advantage of what I just did. Go to your roots over here. Let's double click. Let's go to the color roots over here. And in the roots, I've just set a very large noise again because I had it in texture mode. So let me put on my interactive render region. Let's set this to UV 2D, which means I need to make this very, very, very much smaller than it was over here. There you go. This is a noise. And then you can add some motion to this noise, some movement. Now, you can pre-animate something in After Effects if you want a very specific shapes. Or I think texture allows you for movement. That's why I used it now, remember. Whereas UV doesn't, it sort of is fixed here. You can have animation where the noise animates, but you can't move it through. And yeah, so set this to texture, set this to be very big, let's say 60,000. And now you can see I've elongated it in the z-axis. That's why we get these streaks here. And then you can have some movement where as this advances over here, you will see it just moves through it. You just need to make sure that it moves a bit less. I think in this case, it will move as I advance the frame. There you go. I'm advancing one frame at a time. You can see it moves. And you can use this, these colors to create this sort of wavy motion going on. So that is my advice as far as if you want to make stylized hair and so forth. So where was I here? Interactive render region. And I think we're good with that. as I said, and I've been repeating this in every show. I want to find, we're looking for methods so that any files we create during the Master Trainer, if possible, to be able to share them in a slightly more easy way. Now, it may sound simple, but it's not as simple as it does sound. So we're always looking at ways of improving the shows and so forth. And yeah, we may have some news soon. Okie doke. So let me go and check the comments here. Let's see. Let's see what this is. Margot, can you please explain the difference in particle node modifier position input versus all port data decompose position? Oh, that's not that hard to explain. Let me first preface this with what are we talking about here? Now, if you go to the simulator, you have a particle simulation, and in the modifiers, you have a particle nodes modifier. And in the particles node modifier, let me just put on my own interface. You have the all particle data. If you click on this, you will see it's an array collection that includes the position, the unique ID, and you can see that everything you see here exists here as well. And the difference between, let's say we take the position directly from here, or we go here and we take the position from here. So decompose, if you do a decompose container, because it's a container, you put it here. Now you have all the arrays. Now, this is a very good example of the difference. The way the particle nodes modifier works is that if you have any particle simulation, we don't have anything now, but it doesn't matter. It will go to whatever particles it's iterating through. And it's going to take the position of the first particle and do something, then the position of the second particle and do something, and then the position or whatever value, the color of the first one. But in essence, it iterates through each particle at a time. So the first particle, the second particle, the third particle, and at each one of these iterations, it picks a single value of whatever these are. The all particle data has been given to us as an option so that we can have within any of the iterations. Let's say we're iterating on particle number 3. We have 1,000,000 particles, and particle number 3, we're doing something with that. You can give that particle access to all the data from all particles, from the positions of all the particles at that frame. So if we have frame 25 and we're iterating any particle here, right, we take the position of particle 3, then we can take all the positions of all the particles, do some sort of average of that, and then add it to that position and tell this particle to do something else. So the difference here, although if I go and do an iterate, I can take an, not iterate, but I can do actually an get element, right? Maybe this is even better. If I go and say, let's take the position and let's go to the, where is my current index? This here, and put it here. Now, this position and this position should be exactly the same because we are taking the index of the particle we're iterating through within this execution. We're going to the positions of all the particles, but we're selecting the same position of the particle we're iterating. So this is just a very handy way to be able to access at any iteration cycle the data from all the particles of that current frame if you want all the other data to be able to affect the current particle. And yeah, that's just about it. That's the difference. But here, over here, and over here, now we're getting exactly the same value. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, Farid, there's nothing I can do. You have to contact tech support for this. This is how the process works. And yeah, you're always welcome to join us here. But please, if you have any technical issues or things are broken and so forth, um, please do that. But it says here they removed it by clamp point on axes. Yeah, I think I understand what the problem is here. Just to show people in the symmetry. Um, well, snap points to plane, that would be it. But in any case, if you feel that there's functionality and a use case where the new symmetry cannot be used, please contact customer support. Thank you. Okay. Let's check this out. How would you do the metal chips of a block of metal being cut? Um, I mean, you can just do a simple particle simulation and things just little particles breaking. It doesn't need to be the actual object. Let's see. Let's see. So let's assume we have some sort of cylinder here which you're cutting through, right? And let's do that using a Boolean. I'm going to do it in a very, very rudimentary way here. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's say we're going to cut this metal like bzzz, like cut it up to here. Okay, so at frame 90, the cube is going to be here. Frame 0, the frame is going to be the cube is going to be here. So and it goes in, bzzz, cuts through. Right, let's make this 200. Good. So now let's go and get a Boolean and let's subtract the cube from the cylinder. Go here, object subtract. There we go. And let's do this. Let's go here. Let's move that. And now you have this is being cut. Imagine, I would like you to imagine a cutting disc. Okay. And what I want to do now is create some sort of, let's say the disc is spinning clockwise and there's sparks flying there and all that. So let's get a basic emitter. Let's make it kind of small, I would say. Oh, we're on frame 68, so let's make it smaller. There we go. And let's make it this small. Good. Now, the cube is, okay, so I'm going to turn it. You can see that it's facing that way. So let's get the basic emitter rotated this way, 90 degrees. Good. And you can see that it's pretty much where we want it to be, maybe a bit further in. Make it a child of the cube so that it moves with the cube, right? So what's going to happen is that it's going to move with the cube now. There you go. And I want it to activate at, let's say, frame, boop. I'm going to activate it at frame 26. So go to the basic emitter and say, I want to emit during a range of frames. I want to start at frame, let's say 25 and emit until frame 90. Because remember, duration 90, let's see. That's good enough. Yeah, duration 90. I don't want the particles to go that way. I want them to go in the plus Z, go to properties. Let's go to direction. I don't want the normal direction. I want it to go towards certain axes. The axis is plus Z, so it should push them. Rewind, press. Oh, it's a local Z. I want it to go minus X. X is pointing this way. This is the X. That's a minus X. Go to minus X and do that. So they're going to be going that way. Good. And let's go and add a bit of spread and spread them out. There you go. And now let's add some gravity. In order to do that, all I have to do is just go and add a gravity force. So let's go gravity. Should be the default value. And bzzz. Okay, good. Let's make this 150, not 15. And of course, you can make them change color in time and do all sorts of things. But overall, this is sort of what you want to do. I want them to have a lifetime of maybe 50 frames. Go here, output, properties, limited, 50 frames with a spread of, let's say, 20. Some of them are going to die 20 frames earlier, some of them 20 frames later. There we go. And of course, you can make them go faster, but this is basically the process you're going to use to do something like that. Okay. If you want to add little shards or just render the particles, again, you just make a cloner, set the cloner to object mode, set the particle group to be the object we are using, add a bunch of random small objects there, make this very small, set this to multi-instance. Now imagine if it's not just one object, but many objects, and there you go. You can make these little things fly out and make it appear that it's cutting. Speeds and feeds and all that, it's up to you to control. Okay, that will be how you cut metal chips. Greetings, Jedis. It's always nice to have Jedis in the chat. It kind of promotes security and wisdom. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what this question is. How would you set up nodes to store lighting info in an object's vertex map managed with point light? But I'm curious. No, there's no lighting information in the node system. The only information that our node system can access, and this is through, if you go to your nodes tab in your asset browser and go to asset construction, one is a nodes mesh, and it generates meshes and splines, but we use it more for meshes. We have node spline, which only generates splines. The difference is in the output, that this one has a FONG and whatnot, whereas this one has a subdivision, with a lines and all that. And then we have the nodes modifier. Those are the three main ways we use the nodes. And the data we can access is geometry and the object's matrix and the generator's matrix. We don't have volumetric data. We can read particle data as points because a particle group is a point group. So if you go here in the simulate and you have a particle group, that particle group is the equivalent of a point cloud. Just like if you take any object, remove the polygons and just leave the points. That's why if you make it editable, current state to object, sorry, you'll get a polygon object. This is the derivative with all the essential data applied to it. So, there is no lighting information. Let's see, lighting information. You can't do that, but you can do effects that appear to be lighting effects. I want to remember, I think I did it on my YouTube channel. Give me a quick second. At Noseman. There we go. So I have a YouTube channel, and it's YouTube/@Noseman. Not at NosemanGR, but just at Noseman. So let me copy and paste this here for everyone. Right. And I haven't done videos for a long time, but I do have one of the latest ones was creating clones using ray casting. And it imitates a point light being on one side, and it only creates clones where that light strikes any object. Okay. So you may be able to do something like that. So go check that out and, I don't know, subscribe. And maybe I'm going to start making videos again on my YouTube channel. So they're a bit more unscripted and I can, go through things, different kinds of things. But overall, there's no way to store any lighting information in objects vertex map. That is, it's not only the node's issue, it's an issue with the vertex maps. Now, let me try something, right? I'm getting a few ideas here. Let me try something, right? I'm going to, this is the point where I'm bound to fail, but who cares? Honestly, who cares? So I like to use a figure, and I like to put that figure in a connect object. No, I'm not even going to do that. I'm actually going to put it under a volume builder and that under volume mesher. And I like to make this one. And there you go. So the reason I'm doing that is because I just want a dense-ish mesh. There we go. And now let me go here and just make it editable. Good. So I have this mesh object. Now, let me try something. Let's see if we can use a standard shader or volume. Right, let's try this. Right click. Let's go to vertex map. In the vertex map, because it's an editable object, I have to set it to fields. So let me set it to fields and remove the freeze. Let's see if we can play around with some of Cinema for these classic shaders. I'm going to use a shader field. Again, this is bound to fail, but it doesn't matter. It's the journey. And go to your channel here, and let's find something that has to do with lights. Do we have anything that we have? The channel? Let's see what else. The Lumus shade. Okay, the Lumus reacts to lights, but does it do it on render time only? So let's grab a standard light. I think I need to set this to standard because I can quickly get standard lights here. Let's do this. Now, because I don't know what's going on here, if it's going to work properly, I'm going to take this. Doesn't appear to work. Yeah, well, I mean, didn't expect it to, but refresh maybe. We'll try it. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's going to create a standard material. Let's put it here. Let's go turn everything off. Go to the luminance. In the luminance, let's get the effects vertex map, and let's drag the vertex map in here. And on top of this, I'm going to put a colorizer. And the colorizer allows you to take black and white and convert it into some sort of a gradient. I'm going to do this. So no, we don't get any vertex information. So shader field, refresh. Let's see if there's something we need to do. So the Lumus shall not work. You shall not work. So that's not working. Let's see if we have anything else we can use. I've never tried these. Anything that has to do with light. Blibbity bloom, 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 bloom. No. Effects. Backlight. Chandloom. I don't know if this is going to work. No directional. Let me read the friends. Okay. You have to put question in front of your questions. You're not making it easy for me. Now I'm focused over here. No, I cannot see a way where we can use a light to do this. So maybe following that technique I showed using the nodes will allow you to create some sort of data, because you can use that with to generate a vertex map. Now, I may be missing something. Maybe there is a way. I'm not seeing it here quite yet. But if anyone comes up with any ideas, let me know, and maybe I do a quick tip or something like that. Dominik. Oh, okay. So what everyone needs to do. Hello, Dominik. Thanks for coming by. So let me quickly do something. I'm going to post. I'm going to post Dominik's YouTube channel. And there's a reason for that. Because if you go to Dominik's YouTube channel, you're going to come out the other side better informed and with a few goodies. So go follow Dominik. Go check out Oliver. Oh, all my brethren are here today. Hello, Oliver. You know, Oliver, you have my number, actually. You know that. So go to Dominik's YouTube channel, check out his socials, follow I don't know what else, subscribe and all that, because there's some amazing content there. There is amazing content. And yeah, make sure if you're on Discord as well to find the Cinema 4D procedural one, where Dominik and I frequent. I don't reply that much, but Dominik helps people all the time. Okay, where are we now? Let's check it out. Hello, great leader. Just that's what the aliens said when they came to meet me. So let's let's go back a few questions. All right, I don't know what a question is. There we go. Let's see what this is. Timo. Hi, Noseman. Hi, Timo. Let me input my face when I say hi. At least it's a courtesy. Hi, Timo. Quick question about rendering. I'm rendering a pretty big scene and use proxies for most big geometry assets. My first 2 frames rendering fast. I'm in a tech support. This is a tech support question. If it seems fishy, yeah, you should take this to tech support. Okay, let's see. What do we have here? Raj, is there a way to bake the clone particles that you just showed us as Alembic and try to bake it? Only bakes the clones that are spawned at the first frame of the baked interval. That shouldn't be the case. If that's the case, that's a bug. All right, so these kind of things, you're trying to bake a particle simulation, it doesn't bake the right thing. Did you first cache it using the particle cache? But if this doesn't work, then you need to submit a very simplified file to tech support, because it's probably a bug. Let's say I've got a rigged character. I need to update. See, this is how you do it. Andre, question. That's how you do it, people. Capitalized question. Thank you. Let's say you've got a rigged character. I need to update geometry, remove several polygons. Is there a way to avoid messing up weighting? That's a good one. You know what? If you want to remove polygons, the this is sort of a hacky solution, but it's relatively safe. You're going to use some of our ready-made nodes things, right? Let me show you what I mean. Nodes capsules or modeling tools. So let's go all and do a puppet. There's a puppet, and then let's go and do a running. Let's get a running motion. Let's do this like way. All right, double click on this and let's close this. Okay, let's quickly go here and drag this. There we go. Stumbling and running and all that. Good. And let's forget about everything that is visible and all that. Let's forget about the character rig. So this is it. So this is our mesh, and I want to delete some polygons without affecting anything. It's got multiple objects and so forth. Let's go and from the head. Where's the head? So control right click head. There it is, head. So from this, I'm going to go and remove, I don't know, a bunch of things. So go to your polygon selection and select the bunch of things you want to delete. Right, so let's go and make cavities for the eyes. Right, this and shift this. Right, I want to delete these and the mouth maybe, and something like that. Okay, that's what I want to delete. And the best way is to go and create a selection. So go to select, and you can store the selection. Good. Give it a name, a very descriptive name. Okay, it must be very descriptive. And now go here, go to your nodes and do a delete. But we need nodes, so this is a delete node, and it's the same as deleting, just polygons. And in the delete here, you say polygons, remove whatever it says and drag this in. Make sure it has quotes, and that's it. So there, go back here and do this. Come on. Oh, what just happened? Okay, I didn't expect that to happen. Huh. Okay. See, that's how we get things. All right. I do not like that. But why is it doing it? It should be post. Yeah. This is I would have imagined this to work. So it doesn't work. Fantastic. If I delete the polygons, it's going to happen. Well, I deleted the polygons and it's still working. So the delete doesn't work. I wanted this to be procedural, but it's not. But anyway, go select your polygons and delete them if that's the case. Now, changing the topology of the object. The reason why nothing bad happens here is that the polygon indices do not change when you delete polygons. They retain them. It retains the polygon indices. Anyhow, that put me off the fact that the delete modifier didn't work. Oh, too bad. In any case, just go delete them. Don't change the topology, and you should be fine with that, unless it's something very, very, very specific. Very specific. Okay, let's see. Where are we? Other ways to. So there may be other ways. Other things you want to do, depending on what you want to do. There could be different ways of addressing it. You could, let me think. You could transfer from one model to the other weights. So you make the model and then you transfer the weights by distance. So it's going to sort of do some sort of interpolation. What else can you do? You can turn off. Yeah, I want to. This is something. If you give me a better example of what changes you want to do, I may be able to guide you a bit better. And these are perfect subjects. So I love these questions. If you do send me either a DM on Twixer or through the form or something like that, it will allow me potentially to put it in the pipeline and create something like a quick tip for that. Okay, let's go to Oliver's question. A way to preserve position of clones or particles inside a volume, a moving mesh, like walking character. Oh, not of clones or particles. So what I assume Oliver is up to here. So let's assume that. So we have this character here, okay. And I want this guy as this guy is moving. And let's go and I don't know, transfer the motion as well. So let's go here. Let's do a rigging and a constrained position constrained. And let's drag this in here. I think that is, there we go. Good. So let's assume we have some particles inside this model and we want to run and make sure the particles stay inside the volume. Okay. There is no way I know of that will allow you to do that in the context of the volume. Maybe there's some sort of workaround using some sort of nodes modifier, which you will have to potentially find a way to lock it in certain positions. So the problem with these kind of setups, and even if I get rid of this, let's think about the problem and see if we can work ourselves towards a solution, which I would definitely not find here. As the character is moving, a point inside the body can be constrained based on its, I guess, distance from a specific point. Okay. So you could generate a number of points, find. So this would be the idea. Okay, let me see if I can at least show you. This is our object, the volume of the object. Okay. By the way, this is the doodle, and you can draw things. You can make eyes and smiley faces, and you can make flat heads and ears, right? And hair and neck, 2 giant feet, and a couple of arms. Okay, I know that doesn't help Oliver's question, but it is fun to draw little characters. Okay, so we have an object whose volume we want to put certain particles. So let's assume that this object has some subdivisions here. So imagine these are points, like subdivided. Each and every one of these is something like this. Now this is in 2 dimensions. And I generate some points here. 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Okay. What you could do, and I'm going to make these a bit bigger. 1, 2, 3, and 4. What you could do is say, find the closest point to this. Let's say this is the closest point, or find the closest point to the surface, right? So you find the closest point to the surface, right? And this will be a 90-degree angle. Record this distance, okay? And then, so distance d, something like this. And when this object moves, or deforms or whatnot, you just go to that polygon, or you find the distance to the center of that polygon, or something like that. Something that will move with the polygon. When the polygon here moves, so let's assume the whole object moves, and now we have this point becoming this one becoming this one. What we have to do is take this distance here and go to where that polygon is, do the distance, and move this this particle from here to here, right? So you would go move it here, because now you're just moving it based on some sort of anchor, which is this. Now, there will be a lot of issues with this, because in this object here, you can see the arm is sort of stretching out. So the points that are constrained to the polygons of the forearm are going to stay in the forearm. The ones in the bicep are going to stay in the bicep, and these are going to move differently than these. Then you go into other sorts of tricks where you find between 2 or 3 or 4 different polygons where this is, and maybe you get some sort of average distance. And I'm not absolutely sure how else you can do this. So yeah, not directly, unfortunately, Oliver. That was a very, very slow way of saying not directly. Okay, sorry about that. And I showed this. Hello. Let's see. The clones inside a volume, moving mesh. Oh, that's a question we just answered. So clones, can we do it with clones? Moving mesh, no. No. Let me think. Wait. Oh, but wait. Right, let's try something. Maybe I'm getting some sort of brainwave here. Okay. Now, I don't know about this multi something character, but let's see if we can do something with simulations. I don't like that, but let's say this is a unified model. Okay, so let's find his abdomen, torso. Let's get the torso alone. Let's throw everything else out the window. Right, just the torso. Okay, right. Hey, the invisible man wearing a vest. All right. So okay, I mean, this is funny. Whee. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, what was I trying to do here? I'm going to admit this doesn't even have. It is sort of a volume. Ugh, it's got these things. Anyway, let's see what we can do here. Let's create a bunch of spheres or platonics, small platonics. Make this 10. And let's clone them. And where are we cloning them? We are cloning them into the object. And the object is the torso. And we're cloning in the volume inside. So let's make them even smaller, like 2. Let's make the torso transparent, X-ray, whatever. Okay, there we go. So we can see them inside. Now, you can see we get a bunch of flickers here. What I find funny is that some of them Oh no, they do flicker. Darn. So what can we do with this? Right? What can we do with this? I'm going to emit them. Then I'm going to make them, right? I'm going to take this, right click, simulation cloth, right? I'm making the torso into cloth. Now, if I just press play, it won't do anything because the cloth will just take over. But if I go to my mix animation, I can pin it. So now it's a cloth, but it's a cloth that moves with its animation. Okay, that is done. The next thing I could do, I don't know if this is going to work. Oh, Lord. I'm going to set this to rigid body, and they're inside. I don't like that. They're a rigid body. And then I'm going to use, I don't know if it's going to work, connector. Is it going to work? Create. It's connecting to the cloth. Okay, I get a bit more of a radius here. It's okay, so it's connecting to the cloth. So what's going to happen now? Don't come outside, rats. Okay, so there's something going on there. What kind of collisions? So what if I don't want collisions? Yeah, collision shapes. We don't have collisions off. Huh. We don't have collisions off. So there could be some sort of way around. Oh, off. So liquid collisions are off, but I should be getting. Yeah, they're still jumping around. See, we were close. We were close with this. I would have hoped that these would stay pinned. So hey, developers, if an option to not evaluate collisions is available, we can actually do fun stuff here, right? Like what we're trying to do here. And it must have to do maybe with the existing intersections, because anything that appears to be, so where is that pinned? Okay. That's pinned on the outside. It's the ones that are on the inside that have a problem. So how do I, let me, let me think here. Collision side, both, back and front. Please, collision side, no, none. That would be great. Okay. No. Both, I would expect that to be the correct one. Anyhow, so this would be a way to attempt it and fail. I cannot think of another way other than some sort of intricate node thing, the thing that I drew here, this and this and this and that, the distance and so forth. Okay, including the chat with the ears and the mouth and the teeth, right? And the feet and the hands. Okay. Any other questions? Sorry, Oliver, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. Let's see. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, there could be. So Sharon is responding to the change. There are ways to do it. It depends what kind of modifications you want to do to your mesh. As you see, deleting is a different story. Adding, how. So here's an example why the details matter. Okay, let's assume that I've got this little thing rigged, and everything looks fine. So let's say 5 and 5 and 5. Okay. So this is rigged, it's fine, it works, no problem. And I want to go and delete a polygon, no problem, delete it. Or if I want to go and make a small extrusion, let's assume I have this extrusion, it's relatively close to the rest of the object, that's going to be fine. What if I do this, right? What if I, because I can, what if I do this? I mean, what is the expectation of having a rigged object where I add this very long tentacle here? What would anyone expect about this to happen? So depending on what you're trying to do, there may be another optimal way of doing it. Again, in practice, you can do your modification and then the next thing is to make sure that the vertex maps are smooth across whatever new geometry is generated. Let's go back a few steps and a bit further back. So you do your extrusion, maybe you have a few more subdivisions here, and you make sure that the weights are respected. But if in edge cases like the one I showed, you may need a very special approach to do that. So I wouldn't know. Okay. Ba-ba-ba-bum. Hello, Mythology. We love this program as well. Glad to have you in our company. Okay. Um, is there a workflow for exporting a cloner rigid body simulation to an Alembic file, which includes the materials and selection tags applied to the original clones? It should. The Alembic, Baker's Alembic should do that. If there's a scene that it doesn't do that, this is for tech support. Okay. Point cloud and volume, collapse the points, clone onto points, make child of object, user, mesh. All right. Yeah. Collapse to points. The point cloud in volume, this is what we don't have. Right. We that is exactly when I was drawing that my thing here, when I was doing this my sketch, that's precisely what other software does automatically, where it can put things inside a volume and keep some sort of stability. We cannot do that currently, as far as I know. And yet, maybe there is some sort of, for example, again, I don't know if it's going to work, but because I'm just throwing ideas out there, don't have anything better to do, I guess. Maybe so. Let's see what happens if right. Let's try something. I'm going to remove this. I don't want the simulation object. Okay. What if I use this torso to use a mesh emitter in volume mode, right? And I emit a shot of 100 that only live for one frame. Okay, so we have the point should be born, and then the next frame they're born. I want them to mesh emitter emission constant per frame. So I want 100 per frame. What you're seeing here is that there is no stability. So let's make them bigger. In the next frame, they're totally random because the randomization, it doesn't matter what mode you're going to do. So with volume, maybe pattern grid. Let's see with the grid what happens. Again, there's a lot of jumping around. And that is because each frame, we as humans recognize this as the same object that is changing in time, correct? But algorithmically, its volume is a different volume in every case. So, yeah, anyway, I'm just dragging on for something that at least automatically we cannot do. If anyone comes up with a good solution, I would love to know it. Okay. Um, uh, I'm a chief mischievous mischief maker. Yeah, I cause havoc. I'm the equivalent of Loki in the mask, but as far as Maxon is concerned, yeah, I give everyone a very hard time. But I'm very sweet as well, and I'm Greek, so people tend to forgive me. And yeah, and the CEO likes me as well, so I have that on my side. Okay, um, let's see. And Osman, what would be the best way to create a write-on animation to simulate a feather pen writing cursive on paper? Oh, was okay. you may have asked this in the past, but we can do something. Okay. It's funny. I used to have a show reel, and that show. What if I still have it? I don't even remember what I have. Give me a second. I'll be with you in a moment. Let me go here. Boo, 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 boo. No, it's not here. It's YouTube and slash Noseman. There we go. I'm just looking at my very old videos. I may have a very, very old video, like extremely old video, something that I called Noseman Showreel. I think in one of these, turn off the sound. I think in one of this is too old. This is by today's standards, it's rubbish. One day I'm going to say the story about this particular one here. This particular one. Oh, there you go. So I did this with a very early version of X particles. So, and the technique should be similar. Right, I assume. There we go. And what I'm doing here is that I'm emitting some particles which are stuck on the surface here, and I think they have a bit of a bleed. They sort of bleed out. Yeah, they move ever so slightly outwards. Let's see if we can do something like this. I mean, this is going to be fun, and I think this is going to be the way we're going to end today's show. And I don't know what time it is where you are, but whatever you're drinking, or tea or um, other beverages, cheers. I'm just having coffee. Coffee. I love coffee. And I drink the cheapest, terrible coffee. Okay, let's start with. I'm not even going to put a plane down. Do I need to put a plane down? I'm not going to put a plane down. We'll see what happens. I'm going to do it in the simplest possible way. First of all, let's model a pencil. Okay, pencil's done. Good. So next thing, let's move it up and give it some animation. So I'm going to make a null. I'm going to leave the null here. And I'm just showing you some good practices. You can use a sphere or something like that. You can do this and you can name this. Okay. And let's animate this on the X and the Z. So X and Z and keyframe. And let's go here and other in keyframe, go in the middle and put it here. Keyframe, go to a quarter and put it there. Keyframe, and then go here and put it, I don't know, here and keyframe. I don't even know what this is going to do. What am I doing? Why XY? I said XZ. This is a problem with being old. You forget what you're trying to do. You say XZ and then suddenly you do X and Y. Doesn't make sense. It's fun though, because if you forget stuff, you watch movies again and it's like it's the first time you watch them. I've been having a lot of fun with this lately. So let's lock the Y, move it here, keyframe, go here, move it here, keyframe, and there you go. So we're going to do this, this, and this. Perfection, isn't it? Perfect. I think what you can do, you can go here in animation and you can do something with these splines here. Oh, come on, give me these splines. Why? Anyway, I'm not going to do it now. Good. So we have our animation. So let's go and emit some particles. And I'm just going to select this and go to our standard emitter. So let's go here, basic emitter. I'm going to take this and just make it a child of that because I want it to move with it. Go to your circle, rotate it so that the particles are on that plane. And we're going to make it slightly smaller. We'll say slightly 10, 10. And I'm going to make sure that the particles do not move. I do not want them to move. So here are our particles. So this is the drawing part, okay? I could make it write something, but I won't. So there you go. Whoop, whoop, and whoop. And set this to 150, so we have a bit of... Then now let's increase the number of particles, maybe to 500, just to get it dense. The only thing I want to do now is add a bit of motion to this, where let's start writing a thinner line where the ink is. And I want them to sort of spread out a bit in all sorts of directions. Now, you can go to the properties and put some sort of velocity here. So let's put this at 10. Make the direction radial. And you can see that because it's radial, they're just spreading outwards. There you go. Excellent. So what I want to do, maybe I make this 2. I'm exaggerating it so it's a bit visible. I want it after, you know, 30 frames. I want them to stop slowly. I want them to sort of decelerate. And there are a couple of ways we can do this. The easiest way is to go to your forces and add a friction force, but a rather large friction force. And this will kind of stop them from expanding too much. You can see slowing down and slowing down, slowing down. Now you can do other things. You can create a particle nodes modifier. You can change the speed based on their age. So let's do that. Let's forget about the friction. Let's do it programmatically. Just give you an extra option for this. So we want them as they grow older to stop moving. I want them when they're 1 second, 30 frames, that is, old. I want the speed to stop. And for that, we need a data mapper. So you go to simulate modifiers and we find a data mapper. Data mapper, there you go. Because we are going to create a relationship between the age and the speed. So the property out is the speed, velocity speed. And remember that when each particle is 0 frames old, when it's born, it has a velocity of 2 centimeters. That is the speed it's going. So I'm going to go here and say, okay, when it's 0, I need it to be 2, but when it reaches 30, I want it to be 0. That's it. I want it to stop. And you do that as it is, clamp it. So after this, it's going to stay at 0. And now it's going to be a linear motion. So it's going to move and then they're going to stop. See how they stop? Let me increase this to 5 so you can see that it just stops. Boop, stops. I don't want that. I want it to be sort of a deceleration. So select these 2 points or go here and select all, right click, and let's make these soft. And I want this to slowly taper off. So this should be, is it this way or is it this way? We'll find out soon if it's this way or is it this way. Okay. So accelerate, and that is the highest speed. I want them to do this. I think I want them to do this. I'm not sure. Why does it stop? So it's lower 5 centimeters. The upper is 0 centimeters. I want that 0 to be reached slowly. I want this to be exponential. Okay, and let's put this at 120. It will just help us see what's going on. So there you go. It is slowing down. It was just too short. There we go. So this is what you need to do. Maybe expand it to 60 frames. So they sort of extend a bit more. And yeah, that's what you would do. Make sure that you have even more particles. So let's set this to 1500. So we have a bunch of particles, maybe 11,500, like that. You can add some randomness to the speed as well, some noise, and that means that they're going to expand a bit more rough, just like what I did here. It's going to be a bit rougher. But in any case, then all you have to do is just mesh these particles. And I just prefer to go with a volume builder and a volume mesher. Let's do that. And let's go with a volume mesher. Good. And you can see it's quite thick. Go to your mesher. You can go to the coordinates and set this to 0.1. It's going to make it nice and flat. And you can do this thing over here. Oh, the particles are too big. Volume builder, go to your particles, 15 centimeter each. Are you kidding me? 2. There you go. And here's your ink. Just make it black. And let's go here, automatic. I'm just putting a color here. There you go. Here's your ink. Boop. And you just follow your little pen, and it's going to draw whatever you want to draw. And that's it. That's how you create the pencil stuff. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Where are we? So this is what we did here. Real visual effects. That's fantastic. There we go. I'm glad you liked it. So, what's the time? It's 6 minutes past. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to my spreadsheet and just find one more question and see if, let's see if I have, there is a question about someone that's trying to make circuit boards. So it's about the sweep. So let's assume we have a circuit board here. Let me just draw a circuit board. Boop, boop, oops. It's quite sensitive. I'm just clicking. I don't want to draw a line. So let's do this, 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 and this. And I want to draw a circuit board for this. Right? Add some more paths here. Good. So let's say this is a circuit board. It's not. Okay, I know it's not. Let's go and set this to linear so we don't have anything. And the user, Andre, wants to sweep this with a rectangle. Okay, now if you create a default rectangle and make it very thin, so I'm going to make it thin, let's say 1 centimeter height and 10 centimeters wide, I can then get a sweep. I'm going to get a sweep. I'm going to sweep this along this. Okay, and that should work, right? What I think happened was that the rectangle, when you create a rectangle in your 3D viewport, this one here, the perspective view, let me turn this off for a second, it creates it with oriented on the Z. So it's basically on the XY plane, right? XY plane, and its orthogonal is towards the plus Z. But if you create a rectangle in any of the other views, here, for example, where the Z is this way, we're going to create a rectangle. I'm in the draw spline tool. That's why I drew a spline. If I do this, it creates it here. And if I take this and try and orient it and spin it 10 and 1, if I sweep it, if I try to sweep it, I'm going to get a problem. This doesn't look good. This is not going to sweep properly because it's not oriented properly. The one thing you need to do is make sure that you're sweeping on the XY, so it sweeps the Z. So if anything like this, and the next thing with the sweep, sometimes people forget about that, is the parallel movement. If you put it on parallel movement, it will always retain the orientation of your rectangle. So it's going to sweep it while it's keeping the orientation towards, and make it bigger so you can see, where it's on the XZ plane. That's why these are thinner than the other ones. So just remember those two things. I hope, Andre, this helps. Okay, let's get the example, the Alembic question, and just a quick example. All right, let's try it. Let's see if this works. It's with a MoGraph cloner. So I'm going to make a cloner. I'm going to get a few of these, clone them. And the question is, how are you applying the materials? Now, there was a question. Let me find it. Let's find it. Okay. Is a worker of export a cloner rigid body simulation to an Alembic file, which includes the materials selection tags applied to the original clones. Okay, so let's try this. I'm gonna get a sphere and a cube. I'm going to apply some sort of material here. Let's actually I'm going to go and get the materials from this redshift materials. So let's get a basket weave and put it on the sphere, and let's get a car paint and put it on the cube. But I'm going to make the cube editable and select a couple of sides. And let's create another material, which is a blue fabric, and drag it on this, and it will create a selection and apply the material at the same time. Oh, sorry. A bit of a sneeze there. Suppressed sneeze. There we go. So we have car paints, we have selections and all that. Let's see if this is going to work. It should. Otherwise, you know what you need to do. Jump in queue. Rigging, simulation, rigid body. Rigid and rigging. My brain had a slight little confusion. Let's do this. Let's make this a collision collider object. There we go. Let's press play. Bonk. Right. And this is what happens. Set this to 30 frames, and let's go and export this as Alembic. Let's see what happens with this. Go here and right click. Let me do a quick save here. Let me go to today's and call this Alembic cache. Okay, save. I'm going to go and do a right click and bake as Alembic and delete. So, I see, but is it not working here? Polygon selection 1, polygon selection 1. Let me look at the render. Let me look at the render for a second. Are we getting those blue things? Is it an artifact of, oh, let me add an HDR. And let's go and get something that has enough sunlight. Well, I'll be darned. Yep. The polygon selection is not working. It is if you apply it retroactively. Yeah, this is one of those things that it's appears to be some sort of bug. Now, could be a solution where you select all these. Oh, it's the naming. Okay, so this is what happened here. Apparently, because Alembic does not support dots in the name, the Cinema 4D, when you create the copy of any selection or object, it puts a dot, and apparently a dot is a no-no for the Alembic. So we just uncovered a bug where the dot notation does not get updated, whereas this is an underscore. So I guess the only thing you need to do is select all these and just change the name of it, and it should work if that was your problem. So yes, this is a bug that I would love it if you would go and report it. It's, I mean, you can see this is one of those situations where it's undoubtedly it's a bug, because the Cinema 4D knows about something and changes it, but doesn't change it all the way down the pipeline. I know that if you have a lot of materials, this can become annoying, but it's yeah, unfortunately, that is what's going on. So select all the objects with that selection. You can just go and change the name if you wish. Okay. So with that said, let's see. I think we are I think we're done for the day. It's 12:15. It's time to do the housekeeping. Stick around for a couple of seconds, and let's bring up. What do I need to bring up? I need to bring up my browser, which is there he is, and let's go here. Let's maximize this. And first of all, make sure when you watch the show and you want to go to these links to use this one over here, this little link that's coming up in the chat, and it will take you to this page, the thank you for watching the show page. And this is where you ask the questions for the Ask the Trainer. If you have any good ideas about how we can reformulate this for the future, please let me know. You can go to the events page through this, or University, or check out the Train Team YouTube channel, or even sign up to get newsletters. This is the events page. This is pretty much something you can check every few days. It will tell you about what's going on. There are things happening in India. If you're in Europe, make an effort to go to IBC. It's an interesting place. It's the NAB of Europe, essentially. And or NAB is the IBC of Europe, of the United States, whatever. I don't want to cause any conflicts, but you get a free pass as well. So go check out this link over here. ZBrush Summit and all that, things are happening. This is a great place to be if you like ZBrush. Now, Maxon Training YouTube channel, where all the fun exists. Go check out all these live shows in their recorded form with timestamps and comments provided by our very good friend and mentor, Dr. Sassy. Thank you very much for that, Dr. Sassy. And of course, go to the Maxon YouTube channel to check out all these amazing presentations from extremely talented people. Oh, look at this. I know and I'm friends with all these people. This is great. Let's see. Yep, I've met. Yep. I've met them all. That's why I go to the shows and meet all these cool people. Also, go to the ZBrush YouTube channel, the Maxon ZBrush YouTube channel, because you get an opportunity to watch some incredible presentations by some extremely talented artists. And just if you're like me, you're going to create a great sense of envy and jealousy for these people's amazing talents I could not even dream about. And by the way, ZBrush is available on the iPad. I was going to say iBrush. Yeah, let's rename iPad to iBrush and sell it only with ZBrush on it. And of course, go to University and watch Ellie's tutorials and mine, Ian's, and other people's. Anyhow, I think this is all the talking I'm going to do for today. Again, thank you everybody for hanging out. Please subscribe and do all the other things. I'm going to write it as well, please. Subscribe and enable notifications and all that. The majority of our users are not subscribed, in case you didn't know, especially with the quick tips. Excellent. Oh, and I just remembered, it's Thursday today, and I forgot to record my quick tip. So yeah, I may do it today or just skip to next week. Now, last week we had our 200th quick tip. But in any case, thank you very much for coming around. I need to press the buttons now and put on the end screen. There's a QR code there. Go hit it. It will take you to one of the pages I showed you. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye, everyone.